Hey, thank you for keeping on checking these short little videos out, sharing devotional thoughts with you. Today I want to share with you the devotional thought that I've learned over a process of time. First, it started with a comment I saw on Facebook that says, "If you disagree with me, go ahead and delete me now." And I was like, dang, that's harsh. And I started thinking, there's times where you get so upset and mad over something, you just don't want to debate about it. This is who I am. This is the way I feel. If you don't like it, just cut me out of your life. I can live with that. But I don't know that we as Christians have the freedom to live with that attitude. In 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 18, it teaches us that God has given us the ministry of reconciliation. That means that as a Christian people, we are called to be peacemakers and not just make the peace, because some people make peace by saying, you go over there, I go over here, but to bring people together, to not only reconcile human relationships from an earthly point of view, but to allow that to lead us to reconcile eternal relationships from a heavenly point of view. Because when we begin to share the type of love that reconciles people to people, then that exposes the type of love that reconciles people to God. And when people are reconciled to God, then they receive that grace, that forgiveness, that kindness, and that salvation that empowers them to have the love to go and reconcile other relationships that they couldn't in the past. So I was kind of struggling with that statement, and that statement even came up in an interview that I did. I did a interview. It was a 3-hour long interview. We chopped it up into 9 episodes, but the interview was all about a Christian response in racial difficulty, and I had a group of people together, and towards the end of the interview I brought up that statement, that, man, we can't like just delete people. And one of the ladies on the panel disagreed with me. She said, well, you might need to delete them. And I was like, well, how will that help you in your ministry of reconciliation if you delete them? And she said something that completely blew me away. She said, ministry of reconciliation does not happen on Facebook. It happens face to face. Relationships on Facebook and social media can be artificial. If you want lives to be changed, if you want relationships to be restored, it has to happen in person. And I was thinking, well, dang, isn't that what God did? God didn't just send a tablet or a message. It says that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. Jesus came to us. That's what Emmanuel is, God with us. He came face to face. It wasn't artificial. It wasn't, you know, just a message. He came personally, and he sends us personally. The Great Commission says to go. So just as God sent Jesus, Jesus sends us. And he doesn't just send us to anybody, but it says go to all people groups. I mean, look around you, look at the variety, go to everybody. Maybe you need to reconcile an old relationship, maybe you need to start a new relationship, but remember, these things happen personally. And maybe they can begin and have a positive start through an email or a loving post on Facebook. I know Facebook can ruin it, but it can't stop at that moment. You have to make it personal. You have to make it face to face. So remember how God loved you. Remember how God called you to himself to redeem you and to forgive you. And then remember that he says, as he loved us, now he wants us to love others. So go, do the ministry of reconciliation, loving people, forgiving people, restoring relationships, and hopefully getting an opportunity to also help others restore their relationship with God and salvation. Love you. Thank you for tuning in. If you need to talk these things over or pray about them, give me a holler. I'd be honored to sit down and do that with you. Until next time, thank you for tuning in.